Now it should work. There we go. There we go. Now it's working. I had to punch in the right audio source for this live stream. My name's Richard Taylor, and we're going to be talking about Final Cut Pro 10.5 today, in case you want to comment on that. And we're also going to be talking about the FCPX Global Summit, which is starting tomorrow morning. The biggest Final Cut Pro event every year, simply because it's the only one that's dedicated to Final Cut Pro. NAB, IBC, dozens and dozens and dozens of vendors. This is Final Cut Pro specific, pro apps, a little bit of motion, a little bit of compressor maybe, but it's basically talking all about Final Cut Pro. So we have clips from previous creative summits, they were called in the past, and we're going to be talking about a couple of other developments that have come up. Talk about Big Sur today, because there's a couple of, I've seen some problems with Big Sur. Let me pull up my, there's that. Let me pull this up real quick. All kinds of things I have to pull up here. Plus, I have to monitor the chat over there on YouTube and places. If you're new to this, to my live streams, this is what my desktop looks like. I have a big 34-inch screen, LG monitor, and as a matter of fact, the next time I get a screen, it's going to be even bigger. I'm going to get one of the 40-some inch curved LG monitor. I like the ultra wides a lot better than just the standard. I was with the iMac for a long time. Let me make sure that real quick that my audio is coming through. It's coming through indeed, so I can see that. So who's going to the Global Summit? Who out there is going to the Global Summit tomorrow? If you haven't got your tickets yet, I can save you $100. That's at least worth a cup of coffee, isn't it? Ernest White says, "Good morning, Richard and all." Good morning. Where is morning for you, Ernest? Where are you located? Because it's 2:18 in the afternoon here on the East Coast. Keisha says getting a 42 wide as well. Absolutely. Have you considered a small OLED TV instead of a monitor? Better image quality for your money. How big are they? It's got to be somewhat portable. Ernest says Encino, California. Do I have the right glasses on? I think I might have the wrong glasses on. Let me just check something. No, I got the wrong ones on. I have two pair of glasses and they're exactly identical. The frames are exactly identical, but one's for outside and one's for computer monitor. I think this one looks better. Ernest says it's 11:19 a.m. in California, exactly 3 hours difference. And who's all going to the Creative Summit? Nobody's told me that yet. I'm just curious how many people that watch these live streams are going to the Creative Summit. Let me see something here. This, if you're going to go to the Creative Summit, this code right here, over here, this code will get you 50% off. FCPX 50% off of the admission price. The admission price is $199, so $200. This will get you in for $100. So keep that in mind. So what about this Final Cut Pro 10.5? What do you guys and gals think about it? Now that I've had a few days to think about it, I think the main problem is that I think it's just naming it 10.5 when other full number updates were much, much bigger. But it's a fine update. It did some basic things and corrected a few things and gave us a couple of little features. But it's nothing compared to other full number updates, is it? Not at all, not at all. But it's fine, it's fine. As I've been talking about all along, I'm going to pull this up. One charming quirk says you can get a 48-inch LG OLED 16 by 9 aspect ratio. That's interesting. I don't know if I want 16 by 9. This is different. I like this longer, stretched out version, like for timelines and stuff, better than 16 by 9. So we'll see. I'm not in the market right now. This one's been working fine for years. I had this monitor with my iMac that I had for years. So I switched it over when I got the Mac Pro. I switched it over to my Mac Pro, of course. So Ernest says, I don't think many will update until 10.5.1. Why do you say that? I think that's curious. I didn't hear anybody say that. So now that 10.5 is out, and it wasn't much. It was just a couple little checklist items compared to 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4. Those were much bigger. So I expect, don't know, 10.5.1 is going to be the big feature update that we were expecting. Here's one thing I hope. This is for the Apple Final Cut Pro team. Do not give us features in little dribs and drabs. We're expecting a big feature update associated with 10.5. Give us that big feature update just like you have for the past 9 years, right? 9 years you've been giving us this feature update, and this time you didn't without any warning. So give us a feature update for 10 that's should be like what 10.5 should have been. It can be 10.5.1, whatever, and give us that big feature update. Then between 10.5 and 10.6, give us an update with features and an update with features. So in 10.4, so 10.4 was interesting because 10.3 came out in October, I think, and then a year later at the Creative Summit, and then a year later, they came out with 10.4. And I was like, when I was watching that, I was talking to one of the Apple guys, and I said, is this 10.4? He goes, yeah, 10.4. Like a year later, they showed it to us. It was previewed at the Creative Summit, came out in December of that year. So that was only 14 months from 10.3 to 10.4. 10.4 itself is 35 months old. 3 times as old as between 10.3 and 10.4. So this is interesting. Ernest says, don't think many will update until 10.5.1. Let's hope that's a feature update, not a couple of little dribs of things that are happening. Keisha says, seems like with Mac OS 11, everybody has got a number up, Logic, Final Cut Pro, but they're both dot updates. Well, 10.0 to 10.1, 10.1 to 10.2, 10.2 to 10.3, etc. are just dot updates, but they're full dot updates. They're not 2 decimal places. Those were all major updates. So when 10.5 came out, people were saying, what? Scratching their heads. I know I was. But I understand that they did it because of the Apple Silicon, the M1 chip. They wanted to start fresh with a new set of numbers rather than 10.4.11. I understand that. Give us a little heads-up warning before you do something like that. After 9 years of not doing something like that, give us a little heads-up warning next time. Say, hey, just do a little tech note, do a little tweet, say, hey, the next version of Final Cut is not going to be a full point update like you're expecting, like normal. This is going to be different. We're going to reset the clock for the new Silicon Macs. So what do you think about those Silicon Macs that came out? What do you think about those? But there's been some discussion about that as well. We're going to talk all about that today. We're going to talk about 10.5, and we're going to talk about the Global Summit. Which one do you want to start with? I don't know. Is anybody from here going to the Global Summit? I haven't seen any responses yet, if you are or not. I'll be there tomorrow morning. This was for M1 celebration. That's correct for the most part. And here's the issue with that. The vast majority, millions of Final Cut Pro users are not on M1, and they're not going to be on M1. The vast majority of Final Cut Pro users are going to be editing on Intel for years. So nobody wants to see features just for M1. We want to see features for Final Cut Pro that go across both Intel and the M1, not just the M1. So the Final Cut Pro team is presenting at the Creative Summit, and the last thing I want to see is an hour presentation on the M1 chip. It's not the Final Cut Pro M1 chip team. It's the Final Cut Pro team. Don't give us a sales pitch on the M1 chip. That would be, I don't care if we see a little bit about that. And if the entire future of Final Cut Pro is based on the M1 chip, show us something new at this Creative Summit. Show us something new. Speaking of that, what if the next major update is Final Cut Pro 11? That'd be a pretty big jump, but at this point, who knows? I don't know for sure. Have to see how that goes. Let's take a look at the weather. There's my backyard, Final Cut Pro Radio HQ backyard. So we had a couple of comments here. I'm super curious to see what an Apple Silicon Mac Pro will look like. Probably far, far into the future. Probably 2 years. That's what they said. They said it at WWDC. We're going to start a 2-year cycle when we get the first Silicon Mac out. And then they reiterated that at the Apple event. We're starting a 2-year cycle now. So what's at the top of the 2-year cycle? The Mac Pro, of course. iMac Pro is probably right below that. So we'll see that. But here's the thing. I've seen the idea that they're going to have a smaller version of the Mac Pro. Listen, they already did that. It's called the Cylinder Mac. They took all the PCI slots away and gave it to the Cylinder Mac, which I didn't ever care for, never bought. I want PCIe slots. I got 8 PCIe slots. So if you have a shorter version of the Mac Pro, don't call it a Mac Pro Mini. That's bringing something that's great and bringing it down in size. Call it the Mac Mini Pro, which is bringing the Mac Mini up in size. That would make more sense from a marketing standpoint. Tyler says, one of the reasons I believe an update is coming is that the Extreme Color plugin they showcased at WWDC is not currently in Final Cut. I missed that Extreme Color plugin. I didn't see that. So you have to let me know what you're talking about there, Tyler. There's some things that are certainly missing in Final Cut. I mean, the Final Cut Pro 10.5 is specifically for the M1, and it gave us the HDR little thing. But they didn't give us a whole lot, did they? No, they did not. As a matter of fact, let me see here. Let me pull this couple of things up. Let me just check. Videos. I'm just checking a couple of things here. I think this is the one. Yeah, here we go. So this is the reason that Final Cut Pro 10.5 is getting so much, let's say, chatter. Does that sound like something that's fair? Say chatter. $10.5. That's it. That's it. Full point update. Let's compare it to previous versions of Final Cut Pro full point updates. 10.4. Let's watch this one. Look at 10.4. It's going and going and going and going and going. How about 10.3? Let's check out 10.3. There's 10.3. It's already more than 10.5. All right. There's 10.3. All the features are added for a point update. 10.3, 10.3. Fix some bugs. It goes and goes and goes and goes. 10.2. There's 10.2. Let's check out 10.2 with the infamous 3D titles. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. More than 10.5. 10.1. We all waited on 10.1 if you were back in Final Cut Pro in those days. Here we go. Going, and going some more. Let's check 10.5 out again. It's got to be bigger than that, right? Here's 10.5. That's it. That's all you got. That's the reason there's so much discussion about 10.5. Now, once again, I understand if they wanted to reset that 10.5 to start with the Silicon Max. That's fine. Tell us that 10.5.1 is going to be a big feature update. That's all it takes. Then you can go ahead and do the 10.5 for the metal. For the Silicon Max. That'll be fine. That'll be completely fine. So, the last time I was on here, I was waiting for my iPhone 12 Pro Max to get here. Right? You guys remember that? It never got here while we were live on the air. So Tyler says, you can see the extreme color plugin in the bottom right. Now, I didn't see that. I did not. And as a matter of fact, you're the first person that I've heard talk about it, Tyler. So can you extrapolate on that for me? Can you tell me where you've seen information about that? Are you just going by an icon? Because I haven't seen anything about an extreme color plugin. You're talking about Apple making one that was in the keynote. 10.5 deserved at least 3D tracking of UFS objects. Those are those new objects in motion, I believe, right? I think that's where they were. But listen, once again, the update itself is not, it's fine. It's just not what we expected for a full point update. That's the problem. Just let us know. So anyway, I'm over that part. I'm waiting for 10.5.1, and I'm waiting on what the Apple team is going to show us at the Creative Summit. Now, of course, they're going to show us something about the new Macs with the M1 chip. Of course, that's for granted. Just don't give us 1 hour. Don't give us a sales pitch for 1 hour about this new M1 chip in Final Cut Pro. Show us something new that we haven't seen for the last 2 or 3 months. Give us something new. The M1 chip is part of the future of Final Cut for sure, and it becomes more of a part as we go into the future. So right now, it's only the MacBook, 13-inch MacBook Pro, which I would not get, the Mac Mini, which I also personally would not get, and the MacBook Air, which I also personally would not get. I'll be looking for the next level of the M1, the more pro version. This seems like it's a consumer or a prosumer version, and I understand that it's fast. That's not the issue. Of course it's fast. A chip that's newer should always be faster than a chip that came before it. And this new stuff that Apple's doing with Apple Silicon looks to be really, really cool. Tyler says the extreme color plugin is showcased during WWDC at 1:37:29. I submitted a URL in the chat, but it didn't go through. Yeah, I don't know why that does it. They don't want URLs in there. So I'll have to go back and look at that, Tyler. Did they call it the extreme color plugin? Did Apple call it that? Because I missed that completely if they did. apparently it was showcased. Apparently they did. I missed that. I don't know what you're talking about. Not that it can't be. You could I absolutely believe that what you're saying is true. I guess my point is that I missed it, and I haven't seen any discussion about it either. So that's why I'm questioning you. So who's going to the summit? Who is going to the summit? Who's updated to Big Sur? I've updated to Final Cut Pro 10.5, but I'm still on Catalina because, well, for example, Tyler, this is interesting. Tyler, yes, sir, they did call it Extreme Color. I'll be darned. I'll have to go back and watch that now and see exactly what's going on. Extreme Color plugin. How did I miss that? I haven't seen anybody discussing it either. So one of the reasons that I'm not updating to Big Sur is because this is my main audio interface. It's a U audio, and it doesn't work in Big Sur. It doesn't work. Of course, I wish they had updated plugins and stuff for it, but it's not. This doesn't work. This is my main audio interface for my microphone and stuff. So let me just pull that up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. These are my plugins that I'm running right now with that audio interface. These are software plugins in real time that I'm using with my U audio interface. So until that gets to working, I am not going to be using Big Sur under any circumstances. That's not unusual for me because I was there. That's not unusual for me because it took me 9 months to get to Catalina. I didn't update to Catalina until last May, something like that. I wasn't sure, things were happening with the Creative Summit or NAB last year. I wasn't sure what was going on. But I'm not saying I don't like Big Sur. I have it on a dual boot system. I have an NVMe SSD, which is really, really fast. And I have it internally on my Mac Pro, and I put Big Sur on that so I can dual boot into it. And I dual boot into it, and there's like 6 things that I can't use because they don't have updated drivers. One of them's the audio interface. Got to have the audio interface. Until that's resolved, there's no chance that I'll be updating to Big Sur. Did I like Big Sur? Yeah. It seemed really, really cool. But I can't run these live streams and stuff on it. So Big Sur itself looks fine. It's just that it's not, I got to get these other things updated. Waves plugins is another thing that I use all the time. Final Cut Pro Radio podcast, I edit in Logic Pro, and I use Waves plugins. Well, they're not compatible yet. So I'm not sure exactly why, but when they become compatible, I'll consider switching. But even when I'm going to just dual boot for probably 6 months. And then when I feel comfortable, everything's running in Big Sur, then I'll switch over my main Catalina drive, which is the internal drive on the Mac Pro, to Big Sur. But I'll back it up first. Absolutely, with Carbon Copy Cloner, I will clone my Catalina hard drive so I can always go back if I want to. Tim says, I'm on Big Sur on my MacBook Pro, all is well, still not on my iMac Pro because there's still a few apps that need updating. That's exactly same with me. Big Sur looks great, but I can't update it until everything's working that I need. And my main audio interface, Waves plugins, is another one. All right, let's go pull up another video. Let me see here. I'm going to play a couple video clips from here's one of my ones that I like. This is from the summit last year. Steve Martin, Ian Anderson, live. This is when I was streaming live from the summit. No, what? For what? What reason?
For streaming.
Yeah. Why would I bring the GH5 with my extra lens? I was going to bring the GH5 before that came out with my Sigma lens, the low light lens, with the adapter.
Are you happy with this?
Absolutely. Look, it's not as good as the GH5.
No,
but it fills some mid-level GH5 spots that I normally would take like here. I don't need a GH5 here because this is just going to YouTube.
Speaking of which, I should film something with my GH5.
Right.
So enjoy.
I'm using the Rode lapel for this one. I got this mic on the front and then the Rode lapel because usually I'm behind the camera and I need audio behind the camera and in front of the camera, so that's what I did for there. This one streaming live, it's just this microphone right here, so it gets both of us.
So, the show?
This is great.
Yes.
This is great.
This part is great. Yes.
This part is great.
I hear what you're saying. I'm reading code.
This part and the sessions are good.
Yep. They're good. I love your little tripod with that.
Yeah, I like those better than the twists.
Yeah. I don't like the twist.
I don't like them either.
I like the quick snap.
Yep. You're watching. Come on over here. Why not? It's the internet. I think you're coming this way.
Congratulations on your prize.
Oh, thank you.
Would you win again?
It's something for Premiere on the PC.
Seriously?
No. It's film looks.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any color grading. You just throw a film look on.
I like that. but I'm not familiar with that one.
One for Abba.
One for Abba.
One for Abba.
They're making off.
Behind
You do the what?
scenes.
They're making off.
Yes, exactly.
All right, we'll continue, with
Yeah,
this
yes.
genius over here.
This is a fun show.
But I'm glad.
It's good.
Richard's just like,
Yeah, it's like,
he's like, yes. Keep
so we've had a
talking.
good show, and it's been really great because they've had coffee nearby.
Oh, yeah.
That Boulangerie.
Yes.
It's been really great.
Yes.
And it's a lot cheaper than the hotel restaurant.
Yes, and it's good food.
And it's good food.
And it's right there.
And the service is good.
So that was, of course, Steve Martin and Liat from Future Media Conferences, one of our hosts last year. And that was the expo, which is a Friday night expo that they had. All the vendors were there. There was food there. Everybody gets together and just mingles for a couple hours. Of course, that was in person last year. We can't do that this year, but they're going to have some kind of Zoom sessions or rooms, or I don't know what they're going to do this year. They're going to have social gatherings as well, so we'll see what's going on there. Tim says, attending virtually from Pendleton, Oregon. I'm really excited, absolutely. So one of the things that I'll be doing is tomorrow morning, I think they're starting at, what time are they starting? Actually, let me go over here to my browser and pull something up. Let me see if this is the right thing to do. Download the app. Speakers, announcements, program. So they start at 10:40 tomorrow morning, according to what I'm seeing here, which is, it's actually this. This is an app, or this is a website, but I'm not sure they call it something as an app. There's one for the phone. So it's starting tomorrow morning, this weekend. Not this weekend, Monday morning. It's the weekend now. This is Monday, November 16th is when it starts, 10:40 a.m., which is East Coast time, because they're located in New York. That's where FMC is located. There's Final Cut Pro Radio right there. Look at that. Media sponsor, of course. So tomorrow morning at 10:40 to 11 is the opening ceremony. That will be very interesting. So opening ceremony and orientation. So before 10:40 a.m. tomorrow, maybe 9 o'clock, I'll come back on here live and we'll do a little pre-show, a little coffee with Final Cut Pro Radio, and we'll get together before the actual event starts. Very, very interesting. Let me go back. There's some kind of an app. You get it in the email. I'm sure it's going to be. Well, that's interesting. It won't go back to my. Okay. It won't go back to my YouTube channel. Let me just put YouTube back up there. History. There we go. Just want to keep monitoring things, make sure everything's cool. So, oh, that's interesting. That's the wrong one. So that's all right. I'll let me just pull this up here. I'll get it from my main source. So there's a couple of interesting things, by the way, that people are asking about. Should I update to Final Cut Pro or update Final Cut Pro? Should I update to Big Sur? Yes. Back up first. And in my case, I back up and I dual boot both. So I'm very, very cautious that way. Watching now. All right. So let me play another clip from the summit. Let me see what we have here. Here is, let me get this one. Here we are on the Magic Bus going to the summit last year, going to Apple Park last year, the Apple Park Visitor Center.
Do you have your badges? Yes. Does anyone not have their badge? No. Okay.
When you say badge, what do you mean exactly?
When I say badge, I mean I'll be back to check up on you guys soon.
Thank you. So was there a button?
All right, and wave to me, please. Say hi. Hi. Hello. Beautiful.
Yeah, the kids are really excited.
You're awesome, Richard. Put yourself in there. Say hi. Hey, everyone.
This is the Magic Bus that took us to Apple Park Visitor Center, right across from Apple Park itself.
Okay, we've got 2 buses. This is the first one.
Okay, there's one more coming right behind you. Beautiful.
I think this young lady.
Friday, folks.
Hello.
Give us a few seconds.
Sure.
Hi, Richard.
How you doing?
Great. That's an incredible phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Angle is on.
No, I got the regular one.
Okay.
I don't know if you started. Perfect, because I know we're okay with the Hey, y'all.
Oh, on the roof. Okay, because I told you something else. Perfect. Even better then. Okay.
See a lot of familiar faces there. There's Chris Fenwick, Bill Davis.
Cake is going to be on the roof.
That's pretty darn fun, I must say. Pretty darn fun going to that summit every year. I'm going to miss meeting all those people in the morning. We used to go across, there's a courtyard right outside the hotel. First off, everybody stays in the same hotel, Juniper Hotel. So it was fantastic. Get up in the morning, you go to the lobby, read the paper, relax, get coffee, you meet all kinds of your friends, Final Cut Pro people, personalities down there mingling around, plus everybody else. But you can go across the courtyard before things started, and you could get coffee at this place called I'm not sure if it's Le Boulanger or Le Boulanger. And you could go over there and get coffee, good food. I used to get a bagel and coffee. Bagel's not on my diet normally, but when I'm out traveling, it's certainly a candidate for breakfast for me. So, what about this Final Cut Pro? Let's talk about the Final Cut Pro 10.5 a little bit. Does anything benefit you that you've got? Does anybody have an M1 Mac yet? I'll be curious. Even though that's the entry level, the Silicon Mac is the entry level. Obviously, it's the future of the Mac. I like Macs. Since I started on computers, I started a little bit late. A lot of people started earlier than I did. My first Mac was a beige G3 with the original version of, actually, it was before Final Cut Pro came out. I got Premiere for the Mac back in those days. Pro Max of California configured it for me. I didn't know anything about computers. I said, I want somebody to just give me a complete turnkey system. So I contacted them, paid them, they shipped it out, installed Premiere, and everything worked. And then Final Cut Pro came out. And I started using Final Cut Pro instead of Premiere. But the Mac Pro that I have now, the 2019 Mac Pro, is hands down the best Mac I've ever had. I probably owned about a dozen Macs, maybe more, maybe 15, 16 Macs since that original one. But this Mac Pro, hands down, is the best Mac I've ever owned, for sure. Check the backyard. Not much happening back there. I don't see any activity in the bird feeders. I gathered up leaves this morning. I have a big vacuum system that I use. So looks like I thought it's supposed to rain today, but I guess it's not going to. So does anybody in the audience have an M1? Because I think most people are going to be editing on Intel Macs for years. I know I will. I'm going to be working on this Mac Pro for at least 2 more years. And then if the new version comes out, I'll look at it. Okay. I'm a little apprehensive about getting the very first M1 chips because maybe something's not quite right. I mean, it's the brand new one, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So here's a little, let me see what else is going on there. It says nobody has an M1 Mac. They introduced the Mac Mini, 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the MacBook Air. Nobody has one of those yet. See, that's what I'm saying. Most of the people are not going to be, they're not going to be on those right off the bat. It's interesting. Tyler says, during the most recent keynote, they demonstrated speed improvements in M1 Macs and DaVinci Resolve several times. Do you think they did so to get Blackmagic to develop BRAW? I'm not sure what the heck's happening with BRAW and Final Cut Pro. That's interesting that you mentioned that. I'm not sure what the holdup there is. So absolutely, it should be faster than older Intel chipsets, right? I mean, that's exactly why you do this. And I'm excited for the future of Macs. I really am. But I'm not going to get the entry level. The Mac Mini, the 13-inch MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air is not something that I'm really interested in. I want to wait till the next level of the M1 or M2 or M1 Pro, whatever it is. So love one as a DIT machine. And then Eric Emmerich says, loving HDR on the new iPhone. Shot rocket launch 2 days ago. Looks great. So Eric, I guess I saw this setting in the Mac Pro and the new iPhone Pro, Pro Max, that you can turn HDR on and off. Is that correct? Because I don't want to shoot it all the time. I want to shoot it sometimes. So I wish I had an easy button to turn it on and off right in the camera app. Or other, I hate going through menus to get something. So you tell me. I've got my iPhone Pro Max. I have it. I got it right after I went off the air on the last Final Cut Pro Radio Live. It came finally, and I got it set up. And I really, really, really like it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's absolutely fantastic. I know SDR is easy to output. I'm talking about recording the HDR. I don't want to record all the time in HDR. A lot of stuff, I don't need it. Certain things I will. I wish there was an easy button besides going into the system settings to turn it on and off. I saw there was a setting there, but to record, I don't want to record HDR all the time. 10-bit, I don't need it all the time. Have you tried, Eric, editing the 10-bit HDR in Final Cut? I know that they had, let me just check something here. I know that they had, that's one of the updates in 10.5, right? Yes, it is. So speaking of B-RAW, let me just play this for you real quick. There's one question that Final Cut Pro editors want to know. When is B-RAW coming to Final Cut Pro?
I wish I knew. I don't know. Yeah, the engineers might have a clue, but they don't share any of that information.
So I asked the Blackmagic rep last year about B-RAW. They didn't have an answer for me, of course, as you just saw. Newrent says, planning to buy the Mac Mini 16 gigabytes to replace my late 2012 i7, but I'd like to see some reviews first. That's a smart move. I'm sure it's going to be good. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to be a kick-ass chipset. But I still want to wait. For me, I don't want a Mac Mini or 13-inch or MacBook Air. I'm waiting for the 16-inch MacBook Pro. That would probably be the first one that I get. And I'm going to presume the second one I'm going to get is when I replace the Mac Pro in 2 or 3 years from now. Yes, edited in Final Cut Pro 10.5. Use shortcut to keep from shooting HDR. Maybe, okay, I have to look into that. You mean the shortcut on the iPhone? That would be very cool. Right now, I got to go in system settings and turn it off. I don't want it all the time. I want it just some of the time. But initially, you know, I have a 512 gigabyte hard drive on the iPhone, so I have room, but I just don't want to shoot it all the time. So that'll be cool. Cool idea. Good idea. Shoot it with the, make a shortcut. I don't even know how to do that. I have to watch some iPhone videos, I guess, on apple.com. So there's only a couple people that said they're going to the summit so far. Let me play this real quick. I got a lot of clips today to play. Here's one from the other day after. Well, let's go back to here then. Tyler says, what are some new features you want to see in Final Cut Pro? Tyler, there's dozens of things that Final Cut Pro to this point doesn't have that editors would like to see. I'll give you an example. Of course, Sean Lander wants to see dupe detection. After 9 years, it's not there. I'd like to see the ability to color code clips so I can distinguish them on my timeline by color, sort by color, the way you can in LumaFusion and other apps. I think DaVinci Resolve 17, you can do that. You can color code clips, and then you can sort by that color. So if I'm doing dialogue, I say, okay, this person in the dialogue is color red. This person is color blue, and then I can go ahead and just choose red or blue, search, and all those clips come up. So I like to, plus I can distinguish them in the timeline. I use that in Logic all the time. Color code individual clips in the timeline, and I can see this section, I can circle this section, make them red, circle this section and make them pink or whatever. And I can instantly see the timeline, where the clips are and what sections are which. So that's one of the things I'd like to see. There's lots of other things. The scrolling timeline, of course, we've been talking about that for a long time. They've had it since version 1. They have not turned it on yet. I know that for a fact from people that are in the know. He says, I'll be going to the summit. Super exciting for tomorrow. I'm excited tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, one of the things you want to do, here you go. One of the things you want to do is subscribe over at my YouTube channel. That way you'll get notified whenever I go live. You don't have to pay attention to Twitter and stuff. I'd pay extra to get batch syncing sound to picture. No reason to pay extra. They should have it. They should have it in there. If a third-party plugin's not going to take care of that for you, they should include it. Listen, 10.4 is 35 months old. 35 months old. The time between 10.3 and 10.4 was 14 months. So 10.4 to 10.5 has been over twice the time between 10.3 and 10.4. They have to be working on something besides that tiny little update they gave us for 10.5. There's got to be something they're working on. Is it going to be 10.5.1, 10.6? I mean, Logic jumped from 10.5 to 10.6 in 6 months. I guess Final Cut could do the same thing. We'll find out, but they should let us know this is coming. We got a big update coming, and here's some of the things. I'm hoping they preview that at the Creative Summit tomorrow or Thursday. Whether or not we can talk about it, I don't know. All the sessions at the Creative Summit will be available to attendees for 90 days after the summit. So you don't have to worry about if you miss one, because there's 2 going on at any given time. They'll be available for 90 days afterwards to stream. The Apple presentation, zip. It's not being recorded. You have to be there live to see it, or you're going to miss it. So make sure you see it. Now, Apple Day is all day Thursday. They have some other things, some other keynotes and all. I'm talking about specifically the Final Cut Pro team / Pro Apps / Pro Video team. That's what I'm talking about, not the extracurricular things that are happening, over there at Apple Park. So let's go here real quick. I'm going to go back here. And here is my Apple iPhone unboxing real quick. Just takes 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And I put a screen protector on it, and I got a case for it. Beautiful. I love the square edges, much better than the rounded edges. There's the clear clear screen protector. See, the screen protector went almost all the way to that bottom corner where I'm taking care of it now by itself. I just put it on it. It's just absorbed into the screen, it seemed like. And there's the case. I have kind of a minimal case on it right now. And this is the best. Transfer all your settings from your other phone. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love that feature with Apple stuff. Don't forget to subscribe. There we go. So it says, hard to believe another update before 2021. I'm not saying there's another update before 2021. I don't know what the status is. I'm saying listen, 10.4.9 was much more important than 10.5. 10.4.9 was a great update. 10.5 pales in comparison to what they delivered in 10.4.9. So it's a small 10.5, which is normally a giant feature update. This time was a little tiny update, mostly to start the cycle of the Apple Silicon version of stuff. So let's see what 10.5.1 or 10.6. Logic jumped from 10.5.1 to 10.6 in 6 months. They certainly could jump it to something like that or whatever. But we need a major feature update. We've been waiting 35 months with 10.4. 10.4 is 35 months old. So I don't think there's going to be necessarily one before 2021, but they can preview one at the summit. They can say, here's some of the things we're working on. And they can choose to make that public, or keep it under, some people call it NDA, whatever. We've only been under, well, we haven't been under NDA every time there's a summit. Let me just say that, rather than get into specifics. 10.5 equals Apple Silicon. That's about it. That's what I'm saying. But 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4 were not so minuscule. It's okay. The update itself is fine. So, anyway, the update itself is fine. Let's do, what else do we want to do here? So I'm excited about the Creative Summit. Let me see if I pull that up. There's a couple of things that I saw were kind of peculiar. Let me pull these up. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, why I'm not jumping on Big Sur right away. Currently, Final Cut Pro plugins are not compatible with Big Sur. I got about 6 emails like this, right? About 6. So I'm not planning on updating right off the bat. Too many things are incompatible. Turn that off. There we go. Too many things are incompatible with Big Sur. For me, I know for me it is. There's some other things that I came up with. This is not good. Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up real quick. Why is that up there? Let's do Safari. So, macOS Big Sur update bricking some older MacBook Pro models. That's not good. That's over there on Mac Rumors. So there's another issue with Big Sur. There's other issues as well, but I'm holding off for a while, just like I'm holding off on most OS's updates. Too many things can go wrong. Here's another one, another interesting issue. This was on Twitter this morning. A bit surprised that nobody alerted on the fact that you can't work on an older version of Final Cut Pro older than 10.4.9 on Big Sur. So if you have something in 10.4.8 or before, it doesn't work on Big Sur with Big Sur, apparently, according to In the Socks of FCPX on Twitter. I saw that. I thought that was interesting. Not in a good way. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Here's another thing. Big Sur, read this before upgrading. Here's another article. This is a little detailed article. This article looks at some of the issues involved, etc., etc. This article explains in detail how Big Sur changes the layout of its boot volume group, blah, blah, blah. This is a little more technical stuff, so that's also available. Electric Light Company. I'm not sure exactly what they do. Do you guys? I don't know who they are, to be honest with you. I just saw it this morning, so I figured I'd bring it up here. I put Big Sur on a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. No big issues working with Final Cut Pro. Most plugins work. Right, but I have things that don't work. And Final Cut Pro works fine. I've used that on the beta for multiple times, but other things don't work that I need. So I'm not going to update. Like I said, I have dual boot, so that's not an issue. Not an issue. All right, let's go back. I'm going to go back and play another. Let's go back and play another. Let's see what we have here. Oh, by the way, this is my backyard. This is about a week ago. I filmed this with my iPhone 11 Pro Max 240 frames per second. This is when the leaves were coming down. Here's one of the, this is a lobby scene from the Creative Summit from last year. iJustine's there. Chris Fenwick's there. Jeff Goldberg. Mark Spencer's over there. There's Philip and Greg. This is what the lobby typically looks like. That's what it typically looks like. Juniper Hotel, I really miss it, but hey, we'll deal with whatever we got. That's what we have. Eric Emmerich says, kept his iMac Pro on Mojave. See, I never got an iMac Pro. I probably should have. I kept getting iMacs, but I really didn't like the fact that they had only 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. That was a problem. So what is this? Let me see what this one is. That's that. Here's a little clip from you, if you've heard me talk about it before. There used to be a place over there at the Creative Summit called Armadillo Willie's. This is a little clip from there. Patrick Southern. Some of our friends over there at Armadillo Willie's. Here is one more clip I'm going to play from a couple of years ago. When I was first started streaming live, Roger, who's right there, came over and brought over an iPad Pro that was playing the stream. Oh, by the way, this was in 640 by 640. This was Facebook Live used to do that. I think this is 2016.
Thanks, Richard. I have been summoned by Cormelt, who have your video playing of this right now. So if you'd like to build a feedback loop, you can come and film Roger playing this exact Facebook Live.
Is he?
Yes. Okay. So, oh, here we are.
Whoa, what happens when you point to the net? Wait, we've got a bit of a delay, Wow, that's a long delay. That's not going to work because the delay's too long.
This was the very first summit I was at.
How many layers deep can we go?
2016.
This is Creative Summit Inception. Oh, wait, that was cool. Oh no, coming back.
Nice work, Richard. And be sure to tune in to Final Cut Pro Radio for all your Final Cut Pro news.
Silliness over there, 2016. New Rant says, Richard, what camera are you using for these live streams? I'm using a GH4 plugged in with one of these. I have 2 of them. Let me do this. One of these Camlink 4Ks. It's a HDMI to USB. They're very, very good. I have 2, one for a spare. It's up to 4K. I'm only shooting in 1080p, which is more than enough. So GH4 HDMI out into here, and then this is going into my Mac Pro. That's how I'm streaming. And sometimes I shoot with the GH5, but usually it's the GH4. Okay, let's see what else we have here. So once again, tomorrow morning, I will be probably about 9 o'clock, I'm thinking. Maybe 9 o'clock. I'll come back on here live and start streaming before the summit starts. I have a little coffee situation if you want to come back. It says thank you for tuning in today. Subscribe over there at youtube.com/Richard Taylor TV. Do I have that anywhere handy? Let's see where that is. There we go. YouTube.com, Richard Taylor TV. Subscribe over there. And there you can be notified whenever I go live, like tomorrow morning. I'm probably going to start 9 o'clock. Well, the time zone is Eastern Standard Time because Future Media Concepts is in New York on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast outside of Baltimore and Washington, so that's what the time zone is. And when I post, I will always give 3 time zones. I give East Coast, I give the West Coast, which is 3-hour difference, and then I give Greenwich Mean Time for people that are over in Europe. They can transcode whatever their time is compared to Greenwich Mean Time. I always give 3 time codes, which right now it's 5 hours in advance of whatever we are. So right now it's 3:16 p.m. It's 8:16 p.m. in Greenwich Mean Time if you're a country that uses that. So that's the deal with the time zone. New Rand says, I'll sub right now. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And what else do we have? We got a couple more clips that I'm going to get out of here. This is our friend Michael Yanovich. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year at the Creative Summit in the lobby.
So Lee, we're bringing the pitchforks in case dupe detection's not added this time, right? Because we're in torches, we're gonna have to sneak the lighters in. But with all the fires in California, we'll just be able to dip the torches in. We'll have our torches and pitchforks because dupe detection's gonna be there, and then we won't need them. Right?
I know.
Oh my goodness, we're on camera.
Oh,
this
hey,
dupe
what's up,
detection.
So let me look at this. I thought I saw a setting there to turn HDR off. I'm pretty sure I did. Lens correction. Here, Smart HDR. Oh, that's a photo. That's what I was looking at. Smart HDR. So that's not for video. I would think they would give us a formats. Was it over here? High efficiency? Nope, that's not it. And I know it's not over here. Nope. Good. That's interesting. If you can't turn HDR off, that wouldn't be good. I don't want to shoot HDR all the time. Speaking of Ian, do core mount plugins work on Big Sur? I think they have an update. If they don't, they will shortly, I'm sure. They will shortly, I'm sure. Here is, let me see what else we have here. This is me walking outside the Juniper Hotel, right by the Park View, I think it's called. It's a real nice section of California at Cupertino. Across the street is where I get my groceries and stuff. I bring them back to the room, bottled waters and half for my coffee. Usually I make the coffee in my room rather than, so I don't have to leave. I bring a AeroPress and I grind my own coffee and bring it with me. And I get water from across the street at the Sprouts Market. And anyway, I think we're just about pretty well caught up for today. I don't think there's a whole lot more to be discussing for the time being. Tomorrow morning, once again, if you subscribe over there, Richard Taylor TV, YouTube.com, you'll be notified when I go live. Then tomorrow morning, probably at 9 o'clock, I'm going to go live. Here you go. Eric says it's under record settings. You can turn it off. I hope so. Yes, I hope so, because I don't want to record it all the time. Anybody else have anything to say about 10.5? Nothing? What did you think? I mean, were you disappointed or whatever? Oh, that's something else I want to talk about before we go. So let me just pull this up. Look at this. Look at this. Final Cut Pro User Guide is now available as a PDF. And it's searchable. So one of the things when you have Final Cut Pro is they have these numbers here. They don't do every single number. They didn't do 10.4.10. They didn't do 10.4.8. They didn't do 10.4.5. They skipped 2 and 3 here, 10.4. So that's where the major changes are. 10.1 to 10.3 to 10.06, 10.1. But anyway, it's available as a PDF. Now, Logic was available as a PDF since last May. Logic 10.5 came out, and it was available as a PDF. I posted that last May. That's when they started with putting the Pro apps in as searchable PDFs. I don't think... Let me see if I can put this up there. I don't know. Let me... I don't know if it's... Nah, it's not going to let me. Anyway, I'll post this over there somewhere, over at Final Cut Pro Radio. This is what you want if you're going to the summit. You haven't bought your tickets yet. FCPX 50 will get you 50% off your ticket price. First off, ticket price was already cheap. It's only $199, $200. This gets you 50% off. FCPX 50. You get it for $99. So, Eric says core mount plugins seem to work on your system. That's fantastic. I love Final Cut Pro 10, but why can't we export an OMF file that somebody help me do this? I think there's a translation piece of software. Is it, which one is it? It's one of the ones that'll let you do that. Nicholas P. says 10.5 was a weird choice for version numbers versus feature set. That's exactly correct. So here's what they can do. Apple can come out and say, hey, 10.5 was not about feature update. 10.5 was about starting a new version of Final Cut to work with the M1 Max, the Apple Silicons. However, a new version, feature version of Final Cut Pro, major feature version, is coming out in 10.5.1. It's coming out in early 2021. Let us know that this wasn't all you're going to give us, because it doesn't seem right. Did not dig into it too much yet, but feels smoother than 10.4.10. If 10.4.10 was okay with me, I didn't really have a problem with that. I am on 10.5, but I'm not doing anything super heavy right now. There's the old Final Cut Pro Radio backyard. All right. Once again, FCPX 50. Let's go over there to the Creative Summit real quick. So Nikos says, I consider the Apple Silicon support a given and not a feature. Yeah, I think most of us do. Most of us are on Intel. We know the future is Apple Silicon. We don't need that beat over our heads. We know that. That's fine. But we're interested in Final Cut Pro for Intel as well as Silicon. Don't just look at the Silicon side of things. That's ridiculous to do that. Look at the Intel and Silicon. They should be just about feature parity. There might be some differences, of course. But most of the Final Cut Pro editors are on Intel. Give us a good feature update. Now, 10.4.9 was a nice surprise in August, but there was a long drought between 10.4.4 and 10.4.9. You know, like I said, 10.4.9, 10.4 it's 35 months old. The longest in the history of Final Cut Pro development. And that was a long, long time between version numbers. And then 10.5 came out and there's nothing there, hardly anything there. The feature, the update itself is fine. It's calling it 10.5 without telling us what you're doing with 10.5 for most of us that was curious. Sure would like to see AI dialogue transcription for closed caption in a future update to Final Cut Pro. That would be fantastic. It's like saying iOS 14 is compatible with the latest iPhone. Really, Apple? I understand. There's a little aggravation there, but hopefully they can sort it out. Hopefully at the Creative Summit. That's what I'm hoping. Let's look at that real quick. So let's look at the schedule. This is the biggest deal. Tomorrow morning. It's the weekend now. This weekend is right now. The conference is delivered using Zoom desktop sharing platform to facilitate an interactive educational experience, except for the Apple sessions. The Apple sessions are not going to be on Zoom. Apple, it's not secure enough for Apple. So, Apple Day is Thursday. Look, if you can't afford $100, come on. $100 with FCPX 50. Thursday is Apple Day. Stay tuned for more details. We can find those details out right now. Going to the program, the 2020 program. These are all the things you're getting, all these people. Lumberjack Systems, of course. Here's the Final Cut Pro Apple Day, the Final Cut Pro team. Thursday, November 19th is Apple Day. Starts at Eastern Daylight Time. Actually, it starts not even in the morning. 1 p.m. is the keynote over there at Apple Park. We are going to be at Apple Park, from what I understand. Live from Apple Park, what's new in the Final Cut Pro application and Apple Silicon-based Macs. Yes, we want to see what's new in the Final Cut Pro video application. We don't want just rehash of what we already know. We want to see what's coming in the future or what's going to be available in 2021. Apple Silicon-based Macs are fine. Don't give us an hour of Apple Silicon-based Macs. That would be very aggravating. Show us Final Cut Pro, absolutely. Motion VFX, how Apple has changed my life. Live from Apple Park, tips and insight, how to get the most out of Final Cut Pro Motion Compressor. Motion VFX, course sponsor session, and evening event. I'm not sure what the heck an evening event is going to be like from Apple Park. That's what's supposed to happen. But anyway, it goes from, let me just pull that back up there. It goes from, see, it says Eastern Daylight Time, 1 p.m. So there's nothing in the morning, which is interesting. Doesn't seem like anyway. Does not seem like it anyway. So anyway, that's fantastic, and there's lots of other sessions. Lots and lots of sessions. Lots and lots of sessions over there. I mean, it's 7 days of sessions, right? 7 days. And if you use this discount code, FCPX 50, it's $100 off. So you get to go for a $100, 7 days of Final Cut Pro activity training. You get to watch it for 90 days after the event. The Apple session is not going to be recorded, so you have to watch that live. That's important to know. That's important to know. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to bring up here real quick. So here, we'll do a couple more clips and then I'm going to get out of here for today. Here is, after we go to Apple Park, Cupertino, we typically got to go to this demo room over there. This is the demo room. Half of us went there, half of us got something to eat. Courtesy of Apple.
I always shoot with 5K. Don't lose anything. You know, some people say, well, as long as it's perfectly fast.
So you have an accent. Where are you from?
I'm from Norway. Can't you tell?
We're live. Well, I knew you were from the L.A. area.
Yeah.
And you're Torgrim Grimstad?
Yeah, repeat after me. Torgrim Grimstad.
Torgrim.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We had a good time. He's coming to the summit this year as well. I'm not sure. Oh. I'm not sure how we're going to do these meetups virtually. I haven't been on very many Zoom calls, so I don't know. Having 50 people, 100 people on screen at the same time is not that interesting to me. So anyway, I think we're going to be finished. I think we're finished up here. Oh, I'll play one more for you. No, this is a nice clip. I'll play a couple more for you. This is a nice clip from the Apple Visitor Center.
Oh, on the roof. Okay, because I told you something else. Perfect. Even better then. Okay. Beautiful background and then beautiful. Okay, so a pig is going to be on the roof, so even better than here. So yeah, we're going to start and everybody's here. Okay, we're doing okay. Perfect. Okay. Everyone just perfect. Okay.
I really missed that this year. I really missed going there this year. Seeing everybody, all of my friends in person. They gave us little magnet badges last year. Every year something different. You got it.
It's a magnetic lapel pin. There's two pieces of
Wow, magnetic. Every year you guys change.
Like to keep you on your toes.
There, exactly. Look at that.
Yes,
No, I was just
retake.
I didn't mean for you to film it. I didn't care. I just wanted you to hold it for me so I could use two hands with this high technology.
There we go. We got a tight shot of it. No, stay there. Stay there.
Okay.
Get that. There you go. I'm still rolling this time. That shot, I get credit now on the.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions for today? Any other comments about 10.5? It's going to be fun. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be live on, put that up here, youtube.com, Richard Taylor TV. That's the place, probably the best place to get subscription. I'm also on Facebook and Periscope as well, but I think that the YouTube is probably the best place to subscribe. Don't forget, oops, that's over here. Don't forget FCPX 50% off a ticket to the Global Summit. 50% off, that's a lot of moolah. You can buy me a coffee when you see me live. Subscribe over there at YouTube, and you'll be notified when I go live. I'm planning on tomorrow morning about 9 o'clock. I will post that. 9 o'clock Eastern, U.S., which is where I live. Any other questions? Concerns about 10.5? This is my desktop. My brand new, love it, iPhone 12 Pro Max. Etc., etc. This is my audio interface. My audio interface. Like and subscribe over there. Ben Bowser says, Richard Taylor. Hey, Ben, how you doing? I got some pictures. I got some stuff of you over there at the Creative Summit. I think you were there in 2016. I think, right? Ben says, how is the 12 Max video? I haven't worked with Final Cut with it yet. I haven't really shot that much. Maybe a little bit, so I haven't really played with it that much. So let me just see something here to play us out. Ben says, I was there for the first 2 of the events, I believe. So I know I've seen you. Let me play this one first. I'll play a clip here. This is of the 2 mics. Mike Yanovich, Mike Matz. They followed each other around the whole weekend. They were like shadows with each other. Let me see if I can find a video of you. Jasper. Real quick. There we go. I think. Let me just check real quick and then we'll get on with other business. I'm going to get something to eat. I haven't done that for a while. I don't see it. See you tomorrow. Hope to see some great news from you, even if it's just M1 Max experience. Well, I expect M1 Max to be pretty cool, but that's not all I want to see. And I also don't want to see, Ben and I have been contacting each other via message. If the Apple presentation, we don't want to see just M1 Max in Final Cut. We want to see Final Cut for Intel editors, and we want to see perhaps things that haven't been shown already, right? We don't want to see just everything we already know about Final Cut Pro. But I'm going to head out of here now, ladies and gentlemen. And tomorrow morning, don't forget, subscribe over here, richardtaylor.com, youtube.com/richardtaylortv. Exactly, Ben. I expect something of significance about the future of Final Cut Pro 10. Absolutely. Don't want rehash what we already seen, and we certainly don't want an hour of just the Silicon Max. That would not be something that would be that interesting. 10 minutes is more than enough. Just registered for the summit. Hopefully, you used the code FCPX50 and got $100 off. Listen, $100 for 7 days is incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's a good deal. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning sometime around 9 a.m. Eastern. I will post at the usual places over here at youtube.com. That's the best place. Oh, you can also go to, here's something else you can go. If you forget everything else, let me just turn this down, make sure it's turned down. If you forget everything else, just go to FCPRadio.com. I put the videos up there as well. So FCPRadio.com, you can see we're live there right now. And I just go to FCPRadio.com and the latest video that I'm working on live will be over there. If you forget everything else, FCPRadio.com. All right, everyone. Thank everybody for stopping in. I appreciate it. I enjoy doing these as long as people enjoy watching them. And I will talk to everyone tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. Eastern. All right?